It started with a simple cheesecake recipe. No frills, no toppings, just pure creamy goodness.
Completely random, I would say a gift from God to me. Made a cheesecake at home, my sister's recipe. Why would anyone buy a basic cheesecake?
But behind that cheesecake was a story of survival.
He gave me that push. हम आगे शायद ना बढ़ते.
Zahra Khan, an entrepreneur, a fighter, and the woman behind No Nonsense Cheesecake. Her journey is one of resilience and unwavering strength. Zara built a business with an unconventional mindset.
Do you think it's lonely being an entrepreneur?
Don't try to do what everyone else is doing.
A case of running a successful home based bakery. She was already running a home business when a routine examination turned her worst fear into reality. In this powerful episode, Zara opens up about facing cancer, not once, but twice, and how she turned her pain into purpose.
Trends are start and end before you know it. And where you are providing consistency.
Resilience isn't about never falling, it's about getting back up every single time.
My doctors never told me about any kind of diet I should have after fighting cancer.
Join us for a raw, heartfelt conversation with Zahra Khan as she shares her journey of having a successful corporate career turned an entrepreneur. A story of resilience, survival, and success. Only on Herstory with Zainab Faisal.
Assalamu alaikum, मैं हूँ Zainab Faisal. Welcome to another episode of Her Story. आज हमारे साथ founder हैं of No Nonsense Cheesecake, Zara. Welcome to the show, Zara. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the introduction.
I gave a very small introduction.
A no-nonsense introduction.
Absolutely, and I feel because your cheesecakes are quite viral in Karachi, especially in Karachi. I don't know if you're providing it to other.
I'm not, but people are taking it there.
Really?
Yeah, like literally I have a customer tomorrow who's taken like 10 cheesecakes to Lahore.
Really?
Yeah.
I was actually talking to my mother today. I said, Ammi, I think I will take it to my friends to Lahore this time around.
Or winter bhi hai, to you can take it easily.
It's a perfect time.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Zara, मुझे थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताएं. Tell me about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Zahra Khan and I'm 33 years old and I am the founder of No Nonsense Cheesecake, which is a home-based business which came out of nowhere with zero expertise and zero intention. Completely random, I would say a gift from God to me because literally मेरा कोई culinary background भी नहीं है. I'm a graduate from LUMS. I studied political science. I then started my career in advertising and strategy. And for about 8 years, I was working in that field. And it was in COVID where randomly I just made a cheesecake at home, my sister's recipe. घर के लिए ही बनाया था, कोई intention नहीं था कि मैं इसको बेचूंगी. And like I dropped it off to, COVID का time था, so you couldn't even meet people. So I went and dropped it off to a friend's house, my boss's house, who were like in the neighborhood. And they liked it so much, they said, Zara, we'll pay you, just make us a full cheesecake. तुमने क्या एक slice भेजा हमारे लिए. So it was literally from then, like they put it on Instagram and people started taking my private number and started ordering. And I still had my job at that time. And it just started growing on its own, like with no intention. उस time पे डब्बा भी मैंने नहीं बनाया था कोई. I was giving it in a foil box. And like literally it just started on its own with no intention. Like that's my biggest, I don't know, like it's like a lesson learned or something. I don't know, that sometimes things with zero intention can turn into something so great.
And sometimes मुझे लगता है कि आपकी life का purpose भी आपको आके खुद ढूंढता है.
Yeah, exactly. आपको पता ही नहीं होता.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So Zara, जितना मैंने आपके बारे में पढ़ा and I saw some of your social media presence. So मैंने ये भी देखा that you really enjoyed your job.
Yes, I did.
And you talked about how you love selling.
Yes.
And how you love marketing.
Bilkul. So for me, that was the challenge that I really accepted with a lot of passion. I was like, एक cheesecake है मेरे पास, अब लोगों को ये अच्छा लग रहा है, ठीक है? But as a marketeer, I know it doesn't stop there. Just because the product is good doesn't mean it can sell. You have to do more with it. And then I looked at the product features and I was like, it's such a basic cheesecake, you know, how do we sell it? And why would anyone buy a basic cheesecake? Everyone loves, you know, their fancy cakes and, you know, it has to have toppings and,
Absolutely,
you know, fondant and whatnot. But then I was like, the essence of this cake is simple and let's own it and let's go back to the basics and the simplicity behind the good things behind, you know, simple things. So I spoke to my husband. I was like, you know, let's give it a name. And he's like, let's call it the No Nonsense Cheesecake. And I was like, that rings a bell. Like, that's very nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm like I said, a gift from God. So someone I knew just reached out to me and he said, Zara, I've thought of a really good packaging for your cake. Let's make a new box for it. At that time, I was selling it in like plain brown boxes. But there was someone who reached out to me. I didn't even search for it. Someone reached out to me and said, we can do this with your box. And I said, great. And he was the one who like literally gave it to me on a silver platter. Ke, this is how you should sell your cheesecake. And
Wow.
it made sense with me. And I was like, okay, let's go ahead. And that's how my box was made with the no nonsense. It's written in my own handwriting.
Yes.
Ab wo ek, print ho gaya. And, you know, like everything was just falling into place
Yes.
on its own without any, I mean, there was hard work that went into it, obviously, in
Absolutely.
terms of making cheesecakes every day, staying true to the brand we were deciding to make out of this product. But Allah was opening raste for me, you know, and just making this a very like, you know, like perfect thing to sell. So I was very lucky that way. And then even the support that I was getting, I was making it from my mom's house. So my parents were supporting me in that sense. Like whenever someone would ring the bell, my dad would go out and give the cake. Even though we have help at home, but my dad was like, "नहीं मैं बाहर जाके दूंगा किसी को."
बिल्कुल. So, you know, family totally, हर कोई involved, everybody playing their part.
Yes. My husband played a huge role in like supporting me because there were times when, you know, sometimes I was unable to make cakes because of some family duties. And लेकिन orders आ रहे थे. So my husband was like, family duty side पे, अभी business आपका चल रहा है. Orders आ रहे हैं. So go make those cakes. So he would like give me that encouragement. He could have been like, nay, family duties first. Then
Absolutely.
business. He could have been like that. And a lot of people are like that where they're like, you know, family does come first. But when something is working out and he could see that it was working out, he gave me that push and he encouraged me to fulfill every kind of order demand that was coming. So that was, if he hadn't, I remember this one instant where that specifically happened, and if he hadn't said it that day कि नहीं तुम जाओ बनाओ वो cake, then maybe हम आगे शायद ना बढ़ते.
Yes.
It would be a different like tone to, like the start of my business would have a different tone to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke to somebody and she's also doing her own business.
Yeah.
And interestingly, she also mentioned the same thing. She said, I am where I am because my husband supported me and he also helped me draw some boundaries.
Yes.
Which is so important.
It's so important.
And you know, as a woman, I think a lot of times we want to be able to manage all of everything. नहीं हम ये कर लेते कोई बात नहीं. अच्छा इसको थोड़ा रोक के हम ये भी कर लेंगे हम ये भी कर लेंगे. But to have that sanity check in that time is so important. And you know, I always say that I talk to women who are disruptors, but behind them there are these men, either fathers, brothers, friends, spouses who are that support and that push in the right direction.
Yes.
Actually.
Absolutely. And sometimes not even men, even women. You know, strong women supporting, like backing strong women, because sometimes people don't have those men in their lives, you know, father nahi hai, husband nahi hai. But you should have someone to back you and someone who, you know, whose word matters.
Absolutely.
That's very important.
Zara, मुझे ये बताएं कि, you know, how do you feel now being a businesswoman? within these 4 years,
Yeah.
would you go back to a corporate job if you were offered something, let's say something better?
Better.
Something
I
better?
do miss the corporate life. I
Okay.
miss waking up in the morning and dressing up and going to work and interacting with people every day. You know, like my work life was very nice when I was working back in the day in advertising. It was like, you know, just having intellectual conversations with people, talking about things like, you know, analyzing campaigns. And it was always, it was, I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I would go back to it if maybe it paid better.
Okay.
So now it just doesn't pay well enough. It's just not worth it anymore. Or else I would love to go back to a corporate job and still have the business happening on the side. But as a businesswoman now, I feel I still laugh at it because I can't believe it. It's been 3.5 years now. And me and my husband literally look at each other and we laugh because our whole lives we thought हमारी corporate job चलती जाएगी. My dad is also from a corporate background. Babar's dad, my husband's dad, was also from a corporate background. We never imagined us to be in business. So we laugh because we never expected this to happen. And it's just the way things turn out. Like you just never know what Allah has, what
Planned for
He
you.
has
Yeah.
for you. Yeah.
Do you think it's lonely being an entrepreneur? Is it a lonely journey?
Yes, I do think so because my interactions are with customers on the basis of what size of cheesecake would you like, pick or delivery, pick up or delivery. That's it. And yes, like a few conversations here and there, obviously, which are nice conversations where they're giving, you know, feedback and whatnot. But it's lonely because who else am I interacting with? You know, I'm spending my entire days on my phone taking orders and not spending that time having normal conversations. You know, so in that sense I feel like it is a little lonely. मैं घर पे हूँ, I don't have an office, but these are also like advantages as well. Like there's, you know, a good and a bad to it. The good is I'm in my house. I'm like chilling at home and I'm in the comfort of my home and I can, you know, do whatever I want. I can get out.
So
and
flexibility.
Flexibility is insane. For my husband as well, like he can go to the gym now in the daytime. आप कभी gym जाओ office के बाद and it's literally like a fish market. It's like packed.
Absolutely. I've
you know?
experienced it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for him, that's amazing. For me, I can literally spend more time with family. He can spend more time with his mom in the daytime. You know, after office hours, traffic is so horrible. So these are the perks to it as well. So, I mean, it's just lonely because when you have a job, you're just interacting more with people, with clients, you know, you know, all of that.
You know, Zara, एक और सवाल मुझे इससे आया और पहले भी when you were talking about that, you know, when you make a very good product,
Yeah.
right? आपको पता है वो अच्छा product है, but that doesn't mean it will automatically sell.
Yeah.
And then you said, but we had to work on how to sell it. So I want you to tell us a little bit about that because बहुत सारे लोग आपको देख रहे हैं who are actually either planning to do a business or are in a business and they don't know how to sell.
How to do it.
And you love selling and taking on the challenge of selling.
Yeah.
So tell us about that, how to think about it, how to go through the process.
So for me, it's so important to stay true to the product and also the person that you are, the person behind the product. Don't try to do what everyone else is doing. कि ओ फलाने पेज ने ये पूरी grid बनाई है अपने उस पे, तो we need to have a grid and those colors and the right colors and logos and logo बड़ा होना चाहिए and you know all of that. Like I've noticed whenever someone is starting a business, they really put in a lot of effort in the stuff out, like the face
look of it.
the look of it.
Yes.
ठीक है? You first obviously look at your product and you see what is firstly different about my product than the rest. If you're making brownies and everyone is making brownies, what makes your brownies different? Then own that thing about brownies.
Were you never tempted to add, you know, more variety? Because people genuinely first, introduce the first flavor,
Then
then
they had
they
Lotus.
अब जैसे
all of that.
I mean I would like to mention there was a milk cake, 3 milk
Yeah,
cake.
yeah.
You know, it's very famous.
Yeah.
And now when we look into their brand, they've added more things
More
to
things
it.
to it, yeah.
So were you ever tempted? Do you think you would grow your business, make it more successful?
So for me, it's not tempting. For me, I just want a simplified life. कि मैं बस एक चीज़ बना रही हूँ, एक चीज़ बेच रही हूँ, और I want to sell that more in more places now. You know, so if it's right now accessible in Defense, Clifton, PCHS, Tipu Sultan, those areas, I want it more accessible in other parts of Karachi. The same cake. And then make that same cake more accessible maybe in Lahore, Islamabad. Right now, flavors is not even like, for me, I'm not tempted by it. However, my husband, on the other hand, is always ready to add toppings. Mango ka season hai, mango add karo. Strawberry ka season hai, strawberry add karo. Or hum karte hain, by the way. So sometimes when the season of whatever fruit is in, we do add toppings of just the fruit. No flavor inside the cake. Cake is made the way it is. और उसके ऊपर हम कभी कभार ऐड कर लेते kiwi or mango, and then I put a sticker of the mango on top of the box कि ये mango वाला cake है. So we do sometimes do that. Those are like limited editions, but I haven't gone in the direction of Lotus cheesecake and, you know, Oreo cheesecake and Kunafa cheesecake.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not tempted. I want my cheesecake to be more accessible to everyone.
You know, Zara, your way of doing business actually is quite unique.
Really?
Because we speak to many people and we also have our own observations as well.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, people sell more than one product. And variations are very common, especially in a market where foodies are common actually.
बिल्कुल,
So
yeah.
उसमें ये एक बहुत disruptor किस्म की thought process है
Yeah.
कि मैं एक ही चीज़ बेचूंगी, focused रहूंगी, लोग मुझे पहचाने इसी नाम से पहचाने. अब के ज़माने में because so fast paced, trends are start and end before you know it.
बिल्कुल.
And where you are providing consistency,
Yes.
when you think back, you think about cheesecakes, आपका नाम पहले आ जाता है, you know, इसमें. So I feel कि as an entrepreneur, you make some unpopular decisions.
Yes.
And this is one of those.
Yes. And alhamdulillah, I feel like it's working. You know, अब लोग critics will be like, कब तक ये चलेगा, कब तक एक ही केक बेचोगी, all of that. But right now I feel like अभी तो मैंने बहुत कम किया है. अभी तो मैंने सिर्फ कराची का एक segment किया है. अभी तो बाकी, I get a lot of orders from FB area, Nazmabad, Scheme 33 Gulzare Hijri, which is very far from Phase 8, very far. The delivery charges are extremely high, but people are willing to pay for it. So imagine if people are already willing to pay a very high delivery charge for it. Imagine if it becomes accessible there.
Absolutely.
So the demand is there. I'm aware of it because I get orders from all over Karachi. I just need it to be more accessible there, which is, you know, my next challenge and my next step.
So scaling the business.
Scaling
it to a larger geography is what you are looking for.
Yes.
So Zara, if I would ask, when you started off, how many orders per day at that time?
Yeah.
And now how many are you catering to in a day?
So starting off, there was like once a day, phir aista, thrice a day, and not every day. You know, thrice in one day, or एक हफ्ते की भी बात हम कर सकते हैं, you know, 5 cakes in a week. कभी कभार it was 10 cakes in a week. It was increasing slowly. And then now, alhamdulillah, it's sometimes it could be like 60 cakes in a day.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah for that, yes.
And some, like, also it depends on the season. So if it's right now, December season, I call it December season because दिसंबर में शादियां हो रही हैं और लोग बाहर से आ रहे हैं और giveaways हो रहे हैं and all of that. It's amazing. Like it's our top season, and then Ramzan and Eid are like, and I think it's the top season for all businesses. You know, for all bakeries and all even fashion business, you know, brands and whatnot. So Ramzan and very high season. But alhamdulillah, the thing about my cake is that it's not like a extremely heavy cake कि आप सोच के उसको मंगवाएं. You just order it because it's now like it's like a टी टाइम के साथ आप खा सकते हैं. लोग छोटा केक अपने लिए सिर्फ 1 person के लिए मंगवा रहे हैं. लोग अपने दोस्तों के लिए गिफ्ट कर रहे हैं. लोग birthdays पे दे रहे हैं. It's literally become a cake for every kind of occasion and no occasion at all.
You talk about that आपका जो product है चीज़ केक है homemade है, right? Mashallah, now their orders are daily पे multiple orders हैं. How do you manage with these multiple orders and it's home based? क्योंकि जिस तरह के आपके माशाल्लाह orders बढ़ रहे हैं तो I would have assumed कि it's a factory or you've set up a small setup or quick factory में से वो निकलते जा रहे हैं और consistency manage करना human level पे मुश्किल है ये काम, अच्छा भला मुश्किल है. So how do you manage that?
So as we were growing, alhamdulillah, I was noticing without even realizing that and I eventually started to have a team as well, that as we were growing, even the people who were working with us were also growing. Unke salaries increase ho rahe the because cakes और ज़्यादा बढ़ रहे थे. Riders were also doing much better as well because they were delivering all the time. I have my own private riders. And it kind of made me realize how important it is that as you grow, you have to ensure as you're being empowered, you have to empower everyone around you. So my biggest, I feel, strategy hogi hai is with my team, and I have 2 women who work with me, who help with the cakes. The way I pay them is not on salary basis. I pay them per cake, for per cake that they make. And that motivates them more to make more and to want to make more. And so it basically, the income that I'm getting from every cake, they are also getting from it. It's not a fixed amount. And sometimes people speak to me in my ear and they're like, are you crazy? How can you give them per cake? मतलब वो तो फिर इतना ज़्यादा उनकी salaries हो सकती हैं, etc., etc. But, and I could have been like, you're right, I should give them a fixed salary, etc., etc. But then I realized, like, Allah is giving me so much. The people who are helping me with this business, they should be growing with me. Like, it was very heartwarming to see that, like, eventually one of my staff members, she's now bought a plot, because she's just growing as well with her salary. It's something they never imagined that maybe that they would be possibly getting. But I don't know, I guess when I started off, I started off at a very small number of cheesecakes that were being made, so I was paying per cake. And then when I grew, I could have potentially put a cap to it. But they're still getting it's like a daily, not a daily wage, it's like a product wage, like it's a...
And they're partners actually with you in your business.
Pretty much. Then, yes. And same with delivery, or my riders. So I ensure that they are paid very well. The delivery charges are good. And when you pay your people well and you treat them well, they stick with you. So I've had this team since day one. I haven't had anyone change or move around or anything. And the perks of per cake pay is that there's not a single day they will come in and be like, I'm sick. Aaj baaji mein nahi aa sakti hu, I'm sick. Aisa kabhi nahi hua. It's a very high intensive job as well. Absolutely. Obviously making so many cakes in a day, etc. But that's what's worked for me and my business, because I feel like barakat bhi usse hi aa rahi hai. You're ensure, you shouldn't need to do these cutting corners not cutting corners, that's not the right word, but like, you know how it's just a mentality that we have in Pakistan. You pay less, pay your people less. You know, they should not be earning more than this amount. Market rates
Market
to
rate
ye
ये
hai.
है.
So why are you giving above that? Just give it according to the market rate. But I, alhamdulillah, maybe because I was also working, so I know how important it is to be paid well. I was like, you know, the amount of minute they're putting in, is the market rate really worth it for what they're doing? It's not. So I think that in that sense, it's really helped me and my business grow as well. Like just empowering people around you.
So, Zara, ये तो हमने बहुत डिटेल में we spoke about your entrepreneurial journey, and I think हम अभी भी अपनी conversation we will keep on bringing it up. कहीं ना कहीं तो आती रहेगी. But tell me about, you know, how you've dealt with personal setbacks, and a very important and setback that you've spoken about are some of your health issues. जब the first time you were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes.
So थोड़ा सा मुझे इस journey के बारे में बताएं. I mean, I cannot imagine, you know, what you are going through and what you went through at that time.
At the age of 30, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, very randomly, and not expected, nothing of the sort.
Did you go for a checkup, ऐसे?
No, I felt it. Like I was doing my own checkup, a self-check, and I felt something. And it was after that, like, we went to a GP and then the breast doctor, and uske baad pura pata chal gaya कि it was breast cancer. And for me at that time, I didn't take it that seriously because I wasn't in any kind of pain. So I was like, say, yeah, it'll be fine. Like I feel nothing, so it can't be that bad if I'm not feeling anything. And it was obviously more the people around me who were more scared and more frightened. Cancer ka love sun ke log, you know, they can't imagine it, right? For my parents, my husband, my in-laws, everyone, my friends, everyone around me was just in shock about it. But I don't know what it was. Maybe it was my attitude, ya kya. I didn't take it like, I don't know what the term is. Sar pe havi, like what's the word?
हावी होना,
Havi
बिल्कुल.
hona, yeah.
Or consumed by it all the time.
Yeah. So I ensured नहीं, बस naturally ये नहीं हो रहा था. I wasn't havi में नहीं कर रही थी. And it's like Allah rewarded me in that, because even though I went through a very tough treatment plan where I did chemotherapy, I went through a double mastectomy surgery, I went through radiation, I came out of that very, like that whole journey seemed, when I think about it now, it seemed very easy. Even though it wasn't. This was like 2 years ago. ठीक है? It was tough. But I was still managing everything. I was still managing to live my normal life. Like, yes, I had days where I was bedridden and I couldn't move and whatnot. But I still there was no option of, in my head, I never even thought of it as an option of, कि oh, business बंद करना पड़ेगा, या अब cheesecakes नहीं बन सकते. I still had my job at that time as well, or job quit करनी पड़ेगी. My office, my company was amazing. They gave me a lot of freedom. They said, take medical leave, take 2 months off, 3 months off, जितना भी time तुम्हें off लेना हो, 6 महीने off ले लो. But 6 महीने off का option दिया, but I chose to take off, I think, 2 months. Because when I felt I was fine, I was like, I want to work again. You have to be true to how you feel inside, and you have to just, I don't know, as you know, I'm all about not doing what everyone does. So everyone thought and felt cancer was the end of the world. But for me, I did not feel that. So I guess with that mindset, my attitude helped me be more positive about continuing to work and continuing the cheesecake business. Matlab cheesecake business mein ab I have a team who makes the cheesecakes. I don't make the cheesecakes myself. And I think that's when it started. Like when I got breast cancer, that's when we had to make, like I couldn't do it anymore. But I could still take orders from my phone. Matlab, I'm not completely, I can use my phone and I can take orders and I can speak to people, so what's stopping me? Me and my husband, we shifted to my mom's house when I was diagnosed because the treatment plan was going to be so tough on me. We needed my parents' support. So when we shifted to my mom's house, I had everyone around me helping me with everything. तो मेरा क्या excuse होता कि मैं सब कुछ बंद कर दूँ बस मैं बैठ जाऊँ. So I was very lucky in that sense to continue the business. And it's a lot obviously to do with your mindset. So my mindset was कि I can still continue with my life. If I'm physically feeling down, to per se, I'll take a break. But when I'm fine, to let me do it. And everyone was helping me with that as well.
And was there like somebody or something that was pivotal in that time? या इतनी वो important थी कि when you're unwell, जब low days होते हैं तो बंदा बहुत low भी हो जाता है, बहुत ज़्यादा कि you feel like the pain and in short the misery. So was there something that was someone that would maybe क्या कहते हैं ना आपको दोबारा align कर दे कि no Zara, you could do it. What was that?
No one needed to say that to me. You can do it, because there was no moment of me feeling defeated. And that's a blessing that I had. I didn't feel defeated. But what helped me not feel defeated was, obviously my parents will be there for me. But in our society, majority of the time, the men kind of take a step back, or they take the back seat and they don't show up at times like these. Majority of the time. And that's something I was hearing a lot as well. And it's so funny, a lot of the times, like, my friends would be talking to another friend of theirs about my case, and the first question they would ask was, और उसके मियाँ उसके साथ था? उसका मियाँ उसके साथ है? And I was very blessed that my husband was extremely supportive, तो ठीक है, but just he was there. Involved. He was there during my appointments. That's when men usually take a back seat, like when women are going for their appointments, whether they're pregnant or ill or whatever. The moms usually take their daughters with them, or sister. But my husband was there during my appointments, was there to take me through to all of my blood tests, was there for every chemo session of mine. Kabhi my friends wanted to take me to my chemo session. So I'd be like, it's fine, let my friend take me. Like, it's a change of scenery and whatnot. My husband would be in touch with my friend at all times, like, it's all good, ye wo, blah, blah. Because he would know कि क्या होता है जब आप chemo के लिए जाते हो. He was there for all of those moments. And without him having to say it to me, कि I support you, he was supporting me through the actions. And that's so important. Even through the words that they say to you. Like when I went bald, and there were moments when I just felt so like, I don't want to meet anyone. मैं ये क्या टोपी पहनूं, और ये मैं इतना वो लग रही हूँ, bloated लग रही हूँ, ये वो. Like, he always had the right things to say to me at all times. Once I chose not to wear my topi and go bald to this dinner we were invited to, not for a second did he say, are you sure you want to do that? Or, dekh lo. Like, kabhi kabhar,
बिल्कुल.
my mom sometimes made unknowingly insensitive comments, like, dupatta to pehen lo sar pe, ya, kuch to cover kar lo. And I used to be like, why are you making it seem like it needs to be hidden? So my husband he always had the right things to say to me. Never. And when you go through breast cancer and when you go through chemo, you feel your ugliest. You literally feel your worst. And there was never, he always made sure he said the right things to me, like, not even so obviously, oh, you look beautiful, aisa bhi nahi, just, like, I can't even remember, but he
Hints,
made me feel
small
right.
things.
Yeah.
Everyday things, yes.
And that's so important. And when I opened up about my journey since day one on my private Instagram account. So the kind of love I received from everyone was more than I had imagined. The amount of care and the amount of things people do for you when you're ill, and they'll only do it when you talk about it, when they know. You know, when you talk about what you're going through, people will open up and like with their arms wide open, they will like, you know, they will be there for you. And that's what I experienced. So that helped me a lot as well during this time. I managed to stay confident. I managed to continue, you know, my life, alhamdulillah.
Zara, what was the, you know, like जिस moment आपने बहुत down feel किया होगा, okay यार बस this is it, कोई ऐसा कभी moment रहा?
Not during that time, but abhi, like 6 months ago, I got re-diagnosed. My cancer is back. And it's come back again. And that was a very, that is, I would also say it is, because abhi tak main kabhi kabar guzarti hu is cheez se. It's a very like, now I feel a little defeated. Because I went through so much at that time. And then for it to come back. I'm fine.
Can I give you a hug?
It's fine. I remember I had a trip planned with my friends 2 days later to Turkey, my girlfriends, and report I, and it said it was back in my spine and my lymph nodes. And when I was speaking to my doctor, you know, I asked her, okay, what stage is this? And I never in my wildest dreams imagined her to say it's stage 4. Because stage 4 में आपके दिमाग में होता है पूरा फैल गया, organs में आ गया, फैल गया. That's the perception we have.
Absolutely.
But it was the first time that I understood, and she explained it to me, that when cancer spreads from one place to another and is now in your system. So it was the same breast cancer, not in my breasts, but now in my spine. So it's the same breast cancer that spread to my spine and my lymph nodes. And if that kind of cancer spreads to other parts of your body, that's a stage 4. आपके दिमाग में होता है कि फैल गया. मेरे में तो सिर्फ it was in my spine and my lymph nodes, which is not that big of a deal. I mean, it is. It's stage 4. But I was able to, alhamdulillah, be logical about it and know that I'm still lucky कि हर जगह फैला नहीं है. You know, we still found it right now in my bones. And we can still work on it. And then I told my doctor, I have my trip in 2 days. What do I do? She said, go. Go and have a good time and then come back. And I was like, are you serious? आपको होता है stage 4, आप foreign treatment start करो, हर चीज़ करो, ये वो blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, go. She gave me that blessing and I was like, ठीक है, done. It was a girls' trip, but I took my husband with me. Because at that time, both of us were so emotional कि we couldn't imagine कि ये news सुनने के बाद हम अलग हों. So I messaged my friends. I'm like, listen, can I just let my husband join us on this girls' trip? And alhamdulillah, they're also very close to Babar. So they're like, of course, हमारा भाई है, लेकर आओ इसको. So we went on that trip. We forgot for a while what the situation was like. And I think it was so necessary for us to just get away from that situation. Because अगर मैं अगला दिन गुजारती अपने घर में with this news of stage 4, तो I would just be a wreck. So it's very important for us to, you know, go and just, you know, switch off for a bit and everything. And obviously it was shocking news for all of us, for my family as well. And while I was gone, my mom, my dad, they were researching kya kar sakte hain hum. Babar was researching different things that we could possibly do. We started reaching out to so many other people, other family members who have done different types of treatment. And it was after this reoccurrence that we decided and realized that chemo is not necessarily the only way to combat cancer. So this is something we, you know, discovered. जब हम पहली दफ़ा जब मेरा हुआ था ना, आपके दिमाग में होता है, there's only one way to
बिल्कुल
fight cancer.
because it's mainstream as well.
Yes. One way, doctor के पास जाओ, डॉक्टर आपको सिर्फ वही बताएगा जो वो खुद जानता है, and they only know chemo. डॉक्टर आपको कीमो बताएगा, डॉक्टर आपको सर्जरी बताएगा, डॉक्टर आपको रेडिएशन बताएगा. They won't tell you any other thing beyond what they know. It was very shocking because my doctors never told me about any kind of diet I should have after fighting cancer. They just said balance mein har cheez khao, jo bhi khana khao, sugar does not feed cancer, you know, blah, blah, blah. And maybe scientifically, I don't know what the truth is. Maybe it doesn't feed cancer. But I don't know. I just feel like your diet does matter. Your physical life does matter. Your exercise does matter, which not a single doctor told me. Why didn't they tell me this? I mean, yes, maybe I could have Googled it and I could have found it out, but at the end of the day, my final say is what the doctor says. I trust the doctor completely. So agar doctor keh raha hai कि खाने पे इतना वो नहीं है, तो I can eat whatever I want. But then when we started researching and looking at other stories and other things that are happening in the world, people are fighting cancer with a complete revolutionary life change. They are shifting to the mountains and living a clean and healthy life there. They're having all organic food. They are completely revolutionizing their diet. There are certain anti-cancerous foods that they're completely having. So that is something I started doing usi waqt se. I was like, because I could not accept कि मैं फिर से कीमो करूं. इस दफा I was like, मैं नहीं कर सकती हूँ वो फिर से. I did it once. अब मैं फिर से नहीं कर सकती. This is where my defeatist approach started coming in, and that's the truth. I wasn't all positive and like, it's going to be okay and I'll be fine and all of that. No. Then we started looking and researching, and then the doctors obviously prescribed chemo for me. Oral chemo, which is much easier than normal chemo, which is oral tablets basically, and it doesn't have the same side effects. But I still I have question marks. Because chemo is something that also kills your good cells.
Yes.
It doesn't just kill your bad cells, it also kills your good cells. Why is that kind of treatment still acceptable? I know it's what is killing cancer, but it didn't kill it for me. It did kill my cancer in the first go, but वापस आ गया. तो फायदा क्या है? Am I crazy कि मैं ये पूरी चीज़ करूँ? 9 महीने की literally torturous treatment से गुजरूं for my cancer to come back in a year and a half. I was very disheartened. I was like, my trust, I have trust issues now on everything. So then we all started researching कि क्या करना है. And I have this cousin of mine who lives in India who went through we're cousins, like literally first cousins. So she had the exact same type of cancer as I had. And uska bhi वापस आ गया था lungs में.
Okay.
Which is way worse of a situation. Like organs mein agar aa jaye, to that's very bad. And she did something called dendritic cell therapy in India, which is basically they take your blood and like 150 ml of your blood, and they pick up cells from it and insert dendritic cells or something.
What is dendritic cells?
I can't explain it properly and scientifically, but it's basically, I can tell you what the result, what it does.
Yeah.
It's kind of like stem cell therapy. It's basically when they inject back into you dendritic cells, what is basically happening is they are re-engineering your body and your immune system to fight the cancer itself.
Okay.
And my cousin did it in India. She did it with chemo. ठीक है? They say chemo के साथ आप करो. You know, don't necessarily do this in isolation. And by the way, this treatment is still in its testing phase.
Okay.
It's not a complete, it's not like your chemos. It's not like a
mainstream
हाँ.
approved.
Also, like pharmaceuticals are also, they are controlling the narrative.
Okay.
Pharmaceuticals are controlling what needs to be put out there. So they have ये जो new treatments आ रही हैं side पे, why don't people know about them if they're successful? It's because एक तो funding नहीं मिल रही है उनको, and pharmaceuticals are obviously उनको अपनी दवाइयाँ आगे करनी है.
बिल्कुल.
So, but the reason why I'm not, at least on my Instagram page and all, I'm not talking about it right now because I still have not gotten the result of it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So have you done this treatment
Yes.
yourself as well?
So I was supposed to go to India to get this done. लेकिन इंडिया का वीज़ा नहीं मिलता and बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता है. We even applied for the medical visa and we just didn't have enough time. And we found out the same treatment was happening in Germany.
Okay.
But let me just first finish off what happened with my cousin. She did dendritic cell therapy. And when you are diagnosed with cancer stage 4, you are told that you need to be on medication your whole life. Like, अब बस ये ज़िंदगी वाली चीज़ है. Stage 4 मिट ही नहीं सकता आपकी body से because it's in your system.
Okay.
Now it's in your system. Surgery से भी अगर surgery से भी आप remove कर लें, doesn't matter because आपके system में आ गया. अब कहीं भी जाके it can grow in any other part of your body. So they say stage 4 is not curable.
Okay.
It's treatable. Like you can manage
बिल्कुल.
it.
You manage it, but yeah,
You
खत्म नहीं
can't
होगा ये.
finish it. Exactly. And you have to be on treatment your whole life. And that's something I did not want to accept. कि मैं पूरी ज़िंदगी treatment पे रहूँ. I'm like 33. I want to have kids, man. Like I want to, I want to be fine.
Fine,
And
healthy.
I believe in that. I believe, inshallah, that I can be fine through other methods. So she did it, and she's been free of cancer, alhamdulillah, for 11 years without being on treatment, which is remarkable. That's like insane for someone who had cancer spread to their lungs.
Lungs,
Mashallah,
yes.
alhamdulillah. So I was like, I want to do this treatment. It's also a type of immunotherapy.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's a type of immunotherapy. और उसके नीचे आता है dendritic cell therapy and other types of immunotherapies भी होते हैं. So I did dendritic. So Germany में ये हो रहा है, and we consulted them, and they don't take everyone. They take extreme cases like stage 4 cases and whatnot. They first say you have to have had done chemo before, and then we will accept you. So they knew मेरे case में I have done chemo. I have done everything. So they, alhamdulillah, accepted me. It was very expensive. But alhamdulillah, like Babar and I, we managed to just raise funds for ourselves. We did a pop-up for like 2 weeks. We were like, we're going to make this money. We're going to make it happen, inshallah. And we're going to pay for this treatment. And we had, alhamdulillah, we had so many people who reached out, who were willing to help and everything. But I was like, alhamdulillah, I'm capable. Let me be able to do this right now. And alhamdulillah, I was able to do it. And so we went for the treatment in September. And it was literally so easy and so simple. I was there for 2 weeks. And it was just a one-time thing where they took my blood. And then a week later, they injected something in me, dendritic cells. And they say that you need 3 months for it. You need to give it 3 months to check on your body to see how you're doing, to see if it's working. And apparently it's a lifetime thing. तो हमारी उम्मीद है, अभी मुझे दिसंबर में पता चलेगा, like my PET scan will be by the end of this month, and we will see how it's done. So I'm doing that. I did that. और उसके साथ साथ I'm doing this Tibetan herbal medication.
Okay.
Which I'm laughing because बहुत सारे मेरे दोस्त और सब जो वो सब मुझे वो बहुत परेशान है कि मैं ये रूट ले रही हूँ कि मैं herbal medication कर रही हूँ. But this time I'm just like मैं यही रूट लूँगी. मैं अपनी diet को बिल्कुल ठीक करूँगी. I'm going to be completely clean with my food. I've completely cut out carbs from my diet. I've stopped sugar. I'm eating healthy, alhamdulillah. I've lost a lot of weight ever since I started this diet. which is also a huge part of the whole process as well. You should not be overweight. Exercise, I have not been able to start because of my back. It's been very tough. I also did radiation, Abhi, right after I got diagnosed, because the tumor that was growing on my spine was compressing against my nerves. And my body was about to paralyze. I was in so much pain. My whole back and my arm was in so much pain. Okay, when they did the MRI, they found that the tumor was pressing against nerve compression ho rahi thi, basically. So they needed to immediately do radiation, which I was okay with. I was like, ye to main kar sakti hu, because that's something we need to solve immediately. And that was also a very tough time. This time the radiation was very tough, very tough. Like I was throwing up every day. I was nauseous. It was just 7 days of radiation, but uska jo after effects tha was very bad. Like it was really bad. But alhamdulillah, it solved the problem. My pain was gone completely, which was very miraculous. So radiation ke baad phir main September mein gayi.
And you got this treatment
German
done?
treatment and herbal treatment मैं August से करती आ रही हूँ. And it comes from India, that medicine.
Zara, I'm talking to the first person who has actually gone through this treatment and taken this treatment in a very unorthodox manner. एक तो ये चीज़ now, yes. क्योंकि पहले you went through the conventional methodology, फिर अब आपने एक बिल्कुल totally different route pick किया, you researched, और जैसे अभी हमारी बात हो रही थी that you're on top of the disease rather than the disease and the mainstream practices telling you all the time what to do. Not that उनको पूरा ही discard कर दिया जाए, but as you said that you're still doing chemo, oral chemo.
I'm not.
अच्छा अब वो भी नहीं, वो you've stopped. अच्छा, you said that.
I said that was the doctor
recommendation
prescribed it.
हाँ,
and I said no.
Zara, मुझे ये बताओ कि 5 years down the road, where do you see yourself? What do you envision for yourself?
To be cancer free.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And pata nahi. I find this question very tough because literally life is so unpredictable. कि आपको पता ही नहीं है क्या कहाँ से कहाँ आप पहुँच सकते हो. And I mean, obviously one can dream
and hope.
Yes. I don't know, like from a business perspective, just being more accessible around the world, maybe, available, accessible as a Pakistani cheesecake brand, somehow making it worldwide or somewhere.
Absolutely.
Inshallah.
We have an ending tradition in this podcast. और हम हमेशा पूछते हैं, especially our women leaders, entrepreneurs, disruptors, कि वो अपनी advice, what is that one piece of advice that they would give to the audience that is watching them and, maybe aspiring to be like you. So I want you to give advice on, एक तो as a business owner आप advice दें कि when you started this entrepreneurial journey, in this entrepreneurial journey. Dusra, when you were in your corporate journey. So I want you to give advice on both these and overall general advice.
So for my corporate ladies, I guess just something that would come from me is like, don't take no for an answer. Don't let, like, हमारे culture में और हमारे corporate culture में इतना ज़्यादा, like, because there's so much male domination still. There's a lot of things that come with it, like sometimes we're just treated not like we're smart people. Sometimes I feel like, people think that we don't know, or we don't know what you're saying, or we don't know what's happening. And my advice would be to just ensure that in that very moment you correct that person, like if someone is saying anything to you or saying something's not possible or saying your idea is not right or saying, you've done it wrong, just don't doubt yourself in that very second. Like literally take a second, think, and just respond back. Like we have to change that that behavior that's been happening for so long, you know.
Absolutely.
So in the corporate life, and that's how you will keep moving aage. You'll keep moving forward, and people will respect you more, and will respect your opinion. You know, just know that when you have something to say, make sure it's heard. So that's what my advice would be to women in the corporate sector, and to people starting off in their entrepreneurial journeys. I don't want to say never give up, because वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा obvious है, and
कहते हैं ना, just don't die.
just don't die. Just don't die. I would say believe in your product no matter what people say. You are smart enough to know that your product is good. You made it for a reason. You made it that certain way for a reason. So believe in it and sell it in a natural way, your own style. Sell it in your own style, even if it's not the way other people sell it. Like, in any way that you want to sell it, just sell it the way you want to sell it. And whatever your personality traits are, let it come out in your brand. The person behind the brand is as important as the product that you are selling, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just stay true to yourself and like, you know, sell that.
I'm sure many people who view you
Yeah.
and who are attached to you vicariously,
Yes.
वो आपके लिए, you know, I'm sure बहुत बहुत कुछ महसूस किया.
Yeah.
और जो है, I hope you have a healthy long life, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Achieving what you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
बहुत अच्छा लगा Zara. Thank you. Thank you for sharing everything in detail.
Of course.
मुझे लगता है कि it would be very inspiring. Very
Inshallah.
inspiring, and people would have something more to think about.
Yeah, I hope so.
अगर आपको आज का हमारा ये एपिसोड पसंद आया हो, सो प्लीज़ हमें लाइक और सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलिएगा. हम इसी तरह और इंस्पायरिंग एंड एक्साइटिंग गेस्ट्स लाएंगे. थैंक यू सो मच.